Hi, I'm Purnell, Shropshire Lad. Welcome to Ludlow Food Festival, the virtual version. I'm here cooking dinner for the few people who are here who've been able to make this happen for you today. I've been working really hard, so hopefully we're going to treat them to this wicked dish that I've conjured up in my head. Never made it before, but happy days. So we've got this amazing picanha steak to start. This comes from Great Berwick. Organic Longhorn, absolutely beautiful meat. It's been on the hook for 4 weeks. We've made a stock off the bones as well here, which I roasted off last night. There's a load of bay leaves, there's some celery, some onions and some carrots in there. They're cooked down. The stock started up here last night. We've taken it down to halfway, and that's going to make a pearl barley risotto, to which we're going to also add some of the bone marrow from the beef. Going to add some charred squashes, and we found this puffball too, so we're going to add some puffball into there as well, which is a massive mushroom which we found in the fields well, actually, tell a lie, Sue from Neverton found it for us and brought it here. Our foraging wasn't quite so good. We've also got some little fairy ring champions that we foraged ourselves earlier, which are going to go in, which are off somewhere over there. And then we've got these wonderful scallops as well, which are going to go into the fire with a little bit of thyme butter, and then we're just going to add a little beer to finish those off as well. Okay, so to get started, I'm just going to hit these picanhas with a little bit of rapeseed oil. So it's just going to help the salt stick to it. And then we're just going to put loads of sea salt all over these. And we're going to add a rub to this later on, but it would burn if I put it on at this stage, so we're just going to go with salt to start with. Let that work in. These have been brought up to room temperature, so they're ready to go. Just going to work the salt in there. I'm going to rub it into the fat cap as well, which I've scored, you'll see. It's just going to help it to render down a little bit and get a nice sort of crispy, delicious crust. Right, so we've got these embers of the hardwood that we've been burning in this bowl here. I'm just going to pull these underneath this fire table from Kadai here to get me some really nice hot searing heat to begin with, because we're going to seal these picanhas off, and then I'll pull a lot of this out and they're just going to cook gently. Once we've sealed that, the juices in, we're going to move this around. This is the beauty of cooking with fire. You can manage your temperature just by moving things around the bowl. So I'm going to take these and just literally sear. They're going to go flesh side down to begin with. You're going to need longer on the flesh side than the fat side. The fat tends to burn if you leave it too long, so it's going to spend more time that way up than it is fat side down, but we are definitely going to be getting some of that fat grist up. So sear these off for a couple of minutes and we'll flip them over. Okay, we're just going to turn these over. Nice sear on there, building up that crust, but we couldn't cook it at that heat for the whole way through. So, woo, hot. Crazy dog in the background. The beauty of cooking outdoors, eh? They smell the beef. Right, they're gonna just get let that fat start to render now. I have to really keep an eye on it at this point, because obviously fat dripping onto those hot coals is going to flare up, so be ready to kind of move things out of the way if we need to, but hopefully we're going to get a real nice crispy cap on that. It's going to be awesome. Okay, so we've got this puffball, obviously massive. You can see there. Start again. Okay, so we've got this puffball. As you can see, it's massive, size of my head. Bit of dirt on it. It's a bit like a sponge, so you don't really want to wash it. So all you need to do, there's so much of it anyway, you're just going to cut the outside off, and inside you've got this kind of like, you can cut these into steaks and just like fry it in beef fat or bacon fat, and it's absolutely incredible. Unless you're vegetarian, of course. I'm sure you could find another alternative. But we're going to, today, this is going to go into the risotto, and it's going to soak up loads of that stock that I made with the beef bones from the Organic Longhorn. Just going to get the worst of it off. Probably don't even need to use all of this. I might save some for breakfast. Here we go. Get that into the bin. And then I'm going to just slice it. It's like marshmallow, man. It's so cool. Okay, I'll save that bit. Otherwise we're going to be overrun with one thing. And I'm just going to, it's like feta cheese or something. Amazing. And I'm just going to roughly chop that across this way. Okay, so we're going to get this risotto started off now. I'm going to hit it with some rapeseed oil. You need plenty of fat in here, we're making a lot of risotto. So, fair bit of rapeseed oil. And then I'm going to use the bone marrow out of this bone that I roasted off earlier as well. If you roast it off, not only does it get a bit more flavour, but it makes it much easier to get out. Just going to work that out here. And the other end too. It's also a little bit more appealing to me when it's been cooked. There we go, put that right out. Done. Right, now we're going to go in with some garlic and some onion. Cook that right down. Until it's translucent, starting to get a little bit kind of caramelised, and then we'll add some more ingredients. Okay, so we're starting to see the caramelisation here. I don't want to take that garlic any further because it starts to become bitter, but by adding this squash, we're going to add some moisture, which stops that from happening, and also we're going to go in with the puffball as well. That puffball is going to soak up a lot of that fat, so it means it's going to intensify its flavour, make it really, really delicious. Okay, so now we're going to go in with some pearl barley. So it's an alternative to risotto rice. I really like it. It's a nice sort of rubbery texture almost. I haven't added any salt to the stock at this stage because that can make it a bit more rubbery. So we're going to cook it in the stock until it's there, and then we'll season at the end. The beef's coming on nicely. This risotto's been ticking away. I'm adding the stock, which I showed you earlier, bit by bit, just a ladle or two at a time. And every time I give it a little ladle of stock, give it a little splash of the old Shropshire Lad ale as well. Just building up those flavours. The more it evaporates, the more of the flavour is left behind. It's only water that's going up in the air, and all the flavour's left in this pan. Scraping all the goodness around the edges, working it in. It smells incredible. Okay, so I talked a little bit earlier about the rub that's going to go onto this beef. So this is basically fennel, coriander and black pepper. I toasted it off in the pan. I'm going to whack it into some sea salt now, grind that up, and we're going to put that onto the beef now. If I'd have put it on at the beginning, it would have burnt. So that's the idea of adding it later on. Whenever I cook a steak or whatever, I always add the pepper at the end. It stops it going burnt and bitter. And this just now needs to be ground up. I'm going to rub it all over those picanha steaks just before I slice them. So I'm just going to add a little bit of beer now to finish these. Just going to sort of poach them to finish. Okay, the risotto's done, the scallops are done. Just going to slice into this picanha now. Down the grain. Just blushing, just take that crust off. You'll see that I've put the rub on the outside that I made in the fire. So we're going to take 3 slices of this onto the plate. A couple of these beer butter scallops. And then it'd be rude not to finish it with a bit more of this amazing Shropshire truffle. And then, very final thing, normally you want a little bit of acidity in this. Lemon's not really going to work with those flavours for me, but half a tomato just squeezed over the top of everything is a real lovely way to finish this dish.